Hello and welcome to the About Ewe YouTube channel. My name is Madeline and I'm your host for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and if you're a new viewer, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. This is episode number 44. Welcome to the podcast. This is my corner of the internet where I mostly talk about knitting, crochet, and crafty stuff. You can find me online on Instagram as About Ewe, like my sign that I've got back, except I've got full stops in between each word. I'm on Ravelry as Madbell, and I also have a website which is just www.madaboutewe.com.au, which is supposed to be a blog that I update every fortnight, but at the moment there's my intro post and that is it, because again I've just been too busy to do anything. You may notice, if you're a long-time viewer, that this is kind of a similar setup to what I had last year, and if you are a more recent viewer, you will notice that this is different to the setup I've had basically every episode I've done this year so far, and that is because I finally moved house and I'm in my own place again. Which has been a long time coming, and I sound like a broken record, so sorry, and please indulge me while I continue to talk about that a little bit. Today I've got some knitting, a finished object that is a previous finished object, but I finally blocked it, so I want to show you in all its glory. A few works in progress which haven't really had that much work on them since I last spoke to you, and some exciting news. So without further ado, let's get on to my finished object. So last year I ordered the Louie and Lola 2020 advent calendar, which was dyed by Karina, and it was beautiful. I knit the Habitation Throw by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade, and I did it in every colour, including the day 25 bonus gain, and yeah, I finished this in January or February, I think. I could check Ravelry, but I didn't have my access to my blocking wires or blocking mats until this week, so I have finally blocked it last night. The ends are woven in. I took the opportunity now while it's a little bit quiet this afternoon to set up, so I'm talking to you even, so the ends are woven in is what I meant to say, but I just haven't chopped them off yet. Yeah, so this is it here. Microphone touched to camera. So basically it's a really simple eyelet pattern. It's a couple of dollars on Ravelry, or I think maybe Payhip or Gumroad. Yeah, like I said, Helen Stewart. It was a really easy to make. There were 20 gram minis and I used 10 grams for each stripe. If I had have used 20, I think I would have ended up with a much bigger blanket. Well, I know I would have. And so kind of this is it here. I haven't done final measurement. I will after I have sewn in the rest of the ends and chopped them off. They're all mostly sewn in, but I usually like to block everything before I trim them just to make sure that they're especially sturdy. And I did quite aggressively block this, so the eyelet lace has opened up quite a bit, but it also, due to my tension, was a bit lopsided, but now that I have blocked it, it has kind of evened out a lot. So I will sew those ends in and get some finished objects photos taken, and I'll pop them up on Ravelry, but this is it here, and it's really beautiful, so it's going to probably go on my lounge just as a throw. It's not really cold enough for a blanket at the moment, but I'm really happy that I finally got to finish it and I get to display it in my beautiful house. Just have a sip of my Coke Zero, which I opened about 2 hours ago and then got distracted by something which I'll be talking to you about later. Works in progress. So I've got my storage back, and what I will do is record a short clip and I'll chuck it in kind of at the end, so I'll take you on a tour of my study / craft room. But at the moment what I've got here is projects that are works in progress that I'm mostly working on in this cubby, and then also in one of the baskets like what I had last time. But in the basket at the moment is just my weekender, which I haven't frogged yet, but that's probably heading to the frog pile. I don't think I've made any progress on my crochet granny stripe since I last spoke to you. So this is just the modified Addict 24 pattern. And these lights, I've got my podcasting lights back up, and I wish the bulb was maybe a little bit less harsh, but I've closed this. I think early morning would probably be a better time just with daylight. So at the moment I've got the door shut and the blinds down, and my overhead light is rubbish, so it's just really bright studio lights kind of on me at the moment. So it's washing this out a little bit. It is quite muted-y, pastel-y kind of whatever. Yeah, so no real progress on that, but I will move the progress keeper, and I'm gonna put it near my couch because I feel like that would be good evening crafting. I've not been working on my cozy memory blanket. I think I'm going to turn that into a hat, into a cushion cover. Actually, we'll pull that out and have a bit of a look at it. I have wound off 5 grams minis of lots of other yarns to add on, but I'm mid-square apparently. I wondered where my needle cozy was. There we go. So yeah, I'm not thinking that I have the inclination or the will to continue this as a blanket, but maybe if I do another row I can make it a cushion for a nice chair that I might end up with in the craft room. And yeah, like I said, I've wound off some minis here in this bag that need to be added to the blanket. Now this bag is a lovely bag from my friend Paula, who is Dachshund Studios on Etsy. She lives in the Pacific Northwest in the US, and she's Dachshund Studios on Etsy. This is her little tag here. I've been friends with Paula for a couple of years now, and she makes really beautiful bags, and at the moment she's been making masks and various other things. So if you're in the States and you're after a project bag or anything else, I'd highly recommend you check Paula out online. Okay, there's been no progress on my socks. I'm going to turn the heel because actually, you know what, maybe I should do that tonight instead of brioche. I should turn the heel because then that will be done and I don't have to worry about it. In terms of brioching, I don't know that I've made a whole lot of progress since we last spoke. I think I did, and then I realized I'd missed an increase and had to rip back. So I'm actually probably back where I was last time on my Sizzle Pop by Leslie Ann Robinson. And this is my entry to the craft along that I'm hosting called the Mad About Ewe Craft Along. Now that I say that, I want to talk about the prizes, which I've got stashed in a cubby. So I'm knitting the Sizzle Pop, like I said. I'm using 2 skeins of La Bien-Aimée Merino Single in lipstick here, which is this lovely bright pink, and then Tickles, which is this like speckly white. I was saying to some of the girls that I do a virtual knit group with that I don't know if I'm going to love wearing this, but I'm super proud of myself that I've gotten this far. And that I have kept ripping back when I've needed to because I've made a mistake, and I probably am going to display it on my wall, maybe more so than wear it, just because it's so squishy and brioche-y. Oh no, is that a drop stitch? What's happened there? No, it's okay, just a loose stitch. And the colours are so bright, but yeah, I will finish it. I don't know if I'll do it in the challenge time, but the challenge started on the 1st of August and it's running through to the 30th of November, just in time for people for Advents or Christmas knitting or gift knitting, holiday knitting, whatever that is for you. And I'm keeping that in my Shan's Yarns kind of bento-y. I don't really know exactly what this is called, but it's a handy little bag. And I have made 0 progress on my socks, like I said. I've got of course, having moved, I've just got some more things out of storage. So all of last year you will have heard me speak about these socks. I was making them for my sister, I think, but I quite like them for me. It's Knit Picks Felici, so I'm going to chuck in an afterthought heel. I'm going to do a Fish Lips Kiss heel, and I was going to do alternating colours, like a contrast colour, but I think at this point I just want them done. So maybe even tonight I will do the heels on this, so that it's just kind of foot knitting, which maybe I can do in my next uni intensive. Yeah, no progress on those. Don't know what's in here. Oh, okay, that's crochet yarn for another Ed's Animal, which I'm not going to start. I might do that as part of Mel's Down Under Dyer. Mel is having a cat along, so knit, crochet, craft something that is related to a cat, or the dyer has a cat, or there's a cat somewhere in the project. I've got a little page on Ravelry going. I'd really like to make some mittens, like colourwork mittens, or there's a few little patterns, maybe a pair of booties, like baby booties, which I think I'll probably end up doing those with the little cat on them, just so it's a small project, but I can still join in the fun of the knit along or the craft along. What's in the Yarnable bag? I feel like this is my vertices unite, which I started. Yeah, it is. It's had no love, and you know what? I think I'm actually going to pull it out because I'm not feeling those colours. They're leftovers, and I'd like to put them towards something, and I'm not feeling that for a vertices unite. Ooh, there's something in this pocket. I closed it. Oh, my foot cut out. Well, that's handy. That can go with these socks for when I finish them. All right, that's it for works in progress. I've obviously moved. I have a setup. Like I said, I will show you a little video. But then I was going through like future projects that I would like to make. Oh, it's locked away, what I was going to show you. Astrid from Wattle and Wool is, she's a knitting designer. She's become a good knitting friend of mine. And she is releasing a couple of beanie patterns, and have begged her really, kind of embarrassingly, to let me test knit one of her beanies. So I've got two options which I have laid out of my stash. The first, which I've been thinking of, is this Ching fibre, which is melted suri that I bought in, I got it from Stephen and Penelope. It was on special, I think. Yeah, so it was like $12, €12, and I think I ended up getting it on sale for like $8 or something. And then I was thinking of maybe pairing it with this Undercover Otter, which I also got from Stephen and Penelope, because I don't really know how to play with this one, and the pattern just has like it's textured and has a cable, so I thought they could maybe play well together. I think it's 2 strands of the mohair and 1 strand of fingering. Or the other thing that I remember that I had purchased earlier this year with no plan was this Fledgling Duo by, I can hear a police car and a plane or a helicopter. It's a helicopter. Hopefully you can't hear it. This Fledgling Duo here by Circus Tonic Handmade. So I'm thinking I'm leaning more towards this just because the colours already match, so I don't have to worry about how it will marl. And then I thought that's also really handy for Astrid as she releases the pattern, because Hannah quite often has these kind of duos going. So that's good advertisement for Hannah, who is one of my favourite Aussie yarn dyes. So I think this is what I'll end up doing. I need to send both photos to Astrid. I've sent her a photo of the Ching fibre, and then I'll let her guide me. But hopefully she'll be releasing that for testing in the next week or so. And I'm hoping that there's quite a long, like a couple of week deadline, because as much as I would love to get it done, uni is about to get hectic. When is it? When am I never complaining about uni? Cool. So that's it for finished object, works in progress, and future knits for now. There are more future knits obviously, but the yarn I didn't pull out. Cool. What else have we spoken about? What else do I want to speak about? I have started reassessing my stash, and I've come up with these things to de-stash. I haven't figured out, I will upload them to my Ravelry, will trade or sell, but sometimes, but people are having a bit of luck with doing, like creating a de-stash Instagram account for people to buy yarn from. I don't have a whole lot yet. I need to go through my stash more, but at the moment I'm like, oh, I've got something in mind. So I haven't yet. But at the moment, what I'm thinking, and I just want to preface this with, it's no shade to the dyers who have made these beautiful yarns. I just don't have anything particularly in mind for them, and I can't justify them staying in my stash when I could pass them on to somebody else. So I've got 3 skeins here from Birdhouse Fibres. So this one, and this one. I bought them as a trio last year, I think. It's Superwash BFL, 100 grams, 398 meters. So it's 4x in green. And these 2 here are quite lovely. They are from Melbourne City Dye Works. I bought them last year at the the Big Wool Show. And then up here is a Fluoro Orange Undercover Otter, which I did love when I saw it in person when I went to Stephen and Penelope. Didn't buy it, my friend didn't order, so I was like, oh, can you get me, I paid her, could you get me one of those? She did, but I haven't found anywhere to use it, so not probably going to use. So if I can probably try to palm that off to someone else, that'd be great. I've got some Knit Picks Precocious Tonal Blue Skies. That's a worsted weight yarn. I've got 3 skeins here of Primrose Yarn Company, which is in their Adelaide single fingering base. I bought these maybe 2 years ago. I love them, but I just, having knit my sizzle pot, the fluoro life is not for me, and I can't see how I would incorporate any of these into projects or my life. So it's beautiful yarn. It came from America, so if I can pass it on, that'd be great. I've got these 3 skeins here, which I feel like someone might have emailed me about, and I said, oh, it's in storage, can I get back to you? So I need to check. And then in here I've just got some, I was thinking maybe one of these I was like, oh, I could do as a podcast giveaway. Maybe that's, I can't remember. This is We Love Knitting. She's not dyeing anymore. This is probably better side to see because it's, there's like a cotton mix blend here, which I've owned for about 5 years. They'll probably go as the podcast prize. And then there here, this one is, it's purple turquoise. I've used it before. Why can I not think of the name? And I don't want to get it out. Oh, Misty Alpaca. And it's like a 12 ply bulky, and I made my ex-mother-in-law a cowl. She was my mother-in-law at the time because she was knitworthy. She still is knitworthy, but obviously don't have anything to do with them. And then here as well, I've got some Drops Alpaca, which is just 100% alpaca. I kind of thought I would do something with it many years ago when I was buying a lot from Wool Warehouse, but I just haven't had a chance, and I can't see myself making anything in the future. So that's kind of my de-stash basket at the moment. Someone did message me about I think she was talking about my advent kit from Love and Speckles, but she hasn't gotten back to me here, and I have a few people I follow with a similar name on Instagram, so I don't want to send the wrong message to the wrong person. So if you are, Leanne, if you are watching this, I think it was Leanne or Liana. If you're watching this and it was my advent kit, can you send me another message? This is it here, because I have bought some yarn to make a blanket with it, but obviously if someone does want to take it off my hands, I'm more than happy to reconsider knitting that blanket. This is kind of just my, I can hide this shit behind my sign. Okay, how are we for time? 20 minutes, great. Okay, I have some really big exciting news. Besides the fact that I opened my house, I moved into my house finally. I bought a circular sock machine, and I did this back in July, and it arrived in August, and I've only just opened it up now that I've moved house and started having a play with it. So I will release on the blog probably in the next 2 weeks the whole story, and I have vlogged pretty much every step of the way as well, which I haven't edited together, so I probably should do that before I edit this video. If you've been here for a long time, you know since about 2017 I've wanted a circular sock machine. In 2018 I sent stuff to America to some yarn to get put into tubes to knit socks with, and I did. And then ever since I've wanted one, but couldn't rationalize the price, couldn't think about doing it, whatever. I don't want to spoil it because I have actually spent the time to record the videos and I think it's kind of fun. Feel free to watch it on like speed 1.5 or 2. But I will upload a video about the journey to getting my circular sock machine. So, what I've done today, and yesterday, I have used it a little bit. I have made, basically, I guess the premise behind it is I like wearing hand knit socks. My family like hand knit socks. I don't really like I don't like hand knit socks. And machine knit socks are comfortable. They're significantly quicker, and I don't mind doing an afterthought heel toe cuff, whatever. And then on the machine, you can actually do a full pair of socks, which to me is like excellent. So I bought my machine and I finally set it up, and yesterday I was having a little bit of a play around and I made this tube here, and I was playing with the tension because one of the first instructions is that you should use really loose tension and then start to kind of like play with and understand the machine as you tighten the tension. So I made a hung hem here. I actually missed a stitch, so I did make one mistake. So I made a hung hem, and I really should have pulled out my socks that were done on the knit machine because I have one pair that has the hung hem. So instead of doing ribbing, you do this and it's like all kind of in there. So yeah, this one is quite loose a gauge. I haven't washed it or blocked it or measured or anything, but that's fine. I will do that this afternoon. I knit myself another cast on bonnet, but I cast off with enough yarn, so it's kind of a bit futile. But it worked, and it was a bit of a trial and error. But I'm fairly happy with this one. My machine came with 1 or 2, I think 1 for each cylinder, and then the lady, I ended up buying my machine secondhand, and the lady had made one as well. So now I have 4, 3 for one cylinder, 1 for the other. I did buy an Erlbacher Gearhart Speedster. It's red and I need a name for it. So if you think of anything cool, leave me a comment below. And then the other thing that I did, I cranked a tube of Knit Picks Felici, which I had started knitting my ex-husband a pair of socks actually. I started them like not long after he had started his affair. And obviously I did not finish them. And so I decided earlier this year it was time to repurpose the yarn and pull the needles out. So I did, I wound it up, and then I've actually cranked that into a tube. So I have 2 50-gram skeins of this, and like I can tell, you probably can't from this distance, but I had really loose tension and quite tight tension, and I did drop a few stitches, which wasn't great. And then I've got more even tension along the way. So I'm gonna like pull this onto my leg and see how it goes, and if it's not bad, I will probably my brother doesn't have a pair of hand knit socks, so I will probably turn this into a sock for him. It was really fun. Like, I mean, I'm not enjoying the learning curve, but I never do with anything new. But honestly, like cranking the tube once, like I cast on and whatever, this took me like all of maybe like 6 or 7 minutes to crank 50 grams of yarn. And all I would have to do is spend like maybe 2 hours doing the heel, toe and calf. So good. I haven't been brave enough to try a heel just yet. I need to kind of work on the tension. And my other thing is actually, I don't know that it's a tension problem. I think it's like because it's 64 stitches and I usually knit 64 stitches on a 2.25. So I might actually try and cast on for 54 stitches and with another yarn and see if that kind of gets me a little bit of a tighter fit. Because my original plan was to buy 60 cylinder and 60 and 72, and I ended up with 64 and 72 because I ended up after I placed, anyway, watch the video, it's a massive kerfuffle. But anyway, I guess what I want to show, I bought this one last year, or maybe it was a freebie, I can't remember. This is Melbourne City Dye Works as well, and I'm not sure the dye's name or like the business owner, I can't remember her name, but she's cranked this too. So there's two 50-gram tubes roughly here of Melbourne City Dye Works as well. So yeah, I haven't obviously used that, and I found it because it was in storage, but that's what it looks like. So all of this to say, I wanted a sock machine for me, but what I am going to actually do is there are people in Australia who have these machines who crank socks, and that you can buy them online on Etsy and at markets and whatever. And it was actually seeing the Cranked with Soul, I think, in at the Adelaide yarn fibre feast that I went to back in June, that reignited my I put money aside for a sock machine, I'm going to buy one. And that's when I kind of started seriously investigating again. But anyway, I saw that lady making her socks and I was like, yeah, okay, I want to. The other thing, right, is I've scoured Etsy, I've looked, no one makes these tubes for people to do their afterthought heels, toes and cuffs. So I'm going to offer a service. I have set up an Etsy shop. Obviously I've just got my machine, so I'm not going to do this until I know how to adjust tension for different types of yarn and whatever. But my plan is to have a shop on Etsy where I will crank your yarn into tubes. So plenty of people do this in America, in Europe, all over the world, but I haven't found anyone who does it in Australia. And I wanted this service 4 years ago, and I spent a fortune sending my yarn to America to have this done. So what I appeal to is if you're like me and have a massive amount of sock yarn, either commercial, like West Yorkshire Spinners, this is Stylecraft, I've got Knit Picks, whatever, which I've had for years and I've never knit with, or I like knitting shawls and stuff more than I like knitting socks. So you can send me your yarn, and then for a fee I will crank it, I'll wind it onto cones and then crank it into tubes, and then you can knit your heels, toes and cuffs or whatever. And then I think I will have an option as well that if you would like to have the hung hem, I can also really easily do that as well. So you guys will be the first to know when I get that up and running. And I would say it probably won't be until kind of mid-November after I finish my placement and I've had a couple of weeks more to practice and make socks of my own and just kind of get myself situated with my machine and how that all works. But yeah, that's something, like, obviously I'm still studying at uni, I'm still going to be a teacher, I still do reserve work for my previous job, but I just thought like the machine was hella expensive and I'd like to kind of work to start kind of paying that off if possible. But obviously it's not a massive money making venture that I'm doing. I just thought now that I've got the machine, I would like to offer that as a service because I definitely wanted it several years ago and I couldn't find anyone to do it for me. Like, I even reached out to people who own machines saying, would you do this for me? And they had said no. So yeah, that's my big exciting news. Like, I guess because I've had the machine for about maybe 6 weeks now, and I pulled it out to check that everything had arrived, but I hadn't set it up because I didn't really have any space at my parents' place, and I didn't want to get distracted by it because I've spent like all day tinkering and learning how to do different things, and there's like a whole pile of yarn in the bin because I've made mistakes or whatever. But you have to practice, and I was never a fantastic knitter with even tension or whatever straight away, so it's a new tool and I obviously have to learn to use it. But yeah, that's that kind of exciting stuff. Like I said, I will pop a bit of a walk around the craft room / study so you can see what I've done. Thank you for those who reached out about my storage solutions for my cupboard. What I've ended up doing is most of my craft stuff is out. Broke a bauble, whoops. Most of my craft stuff is out here, and then my stationery, my uni stuff, workbooks, whatever, is in the cupboard over here. And I do have fabric and stuff in plastic tubs like I did at my last place, but they are in there as well, and I haven't come up with a solution for that. But my sewing machine is out, my overlocker is out, and I'm hoping to use those more in the next kind of 12 months as well. what else do we usually do? We have a chat. I've kind of like knit and natter or blather has kind of like infiltrated this whole thing. But we'll just do a quick little sum up, I guess. So obviously, like I said, about 17 million times, I've moved into my new house. It's great. I have so much space, I don't know what to do with myself. I've had to order another lounge because my lounge room is enormous, and I don't know how long I will be here. I hope for a number of years or forever. But I might also have to move to get a job. So I didn't want to buy too much extra furniture, but I did need a lounge, so I'm going to keep that. I'm unsuccessful in getting my sister to leave where she lives now and move in with me. But that's okay. She's going to come for dinner in a couple of weeks, so maybe I can convince her then. Shoot, what else am I thinking? I'm going to look to get a housemate kind of in November as well, if I haven't sort of sorted that out before then. Uni's going really well. I've got 3 weeks left of this semester and then I go on my 4-week placement. I've done so well academically, like much, you know how I got on here a couple months ago, I was like, look, I did really well last semester, but it was at the total expense of my mental health, and I really just don't want to, I can't do that to myself again, so whatever I get, I'm just going to put in the effort. Anyway, I feel like I'm working smarter, not harder. I'm more productive and I'm doing better than I did last semester. So I'm on HDD, like distinction, high distinction averages at the moment. I have been managing to work. I didn't work this last week, obviously with the move. Well, not obviously, but I did not work because of the move, but I've got the next kind of 3 weeks of work lined up before I go on placement when I can't work. Everything's just coming together. It's so lovely because I was really kind of apprehensive, and for most of the year I've been saying November or like September, October is going to be big for me, like move house. It's like the start of new life. Well, you know, just my own space again, and just, yeah, it's been really lovely. Like, I mean, I've only been in here 4 days. I had a crisis. I tried to do washing 2 days ago and water started coming out of the tap in the wrong spot, like not where it's supposed to come out. And I turned the washing machine off. I called my dad and I was like, I don't know what's happening. I can't deal with water. Like, I turned everything off. Anyway, he and my mum came down today. We turned it on, turned the taps on. It was totally fine. So I don't know what happened on Wednesday, but it did. Anyway, it's Saturday today, the 18th of September. And it was totally fine. So that's good. I've done 1 load of washing. I'll do another load tomorrow. Went to a new gym today, had a look around. It looks great. They have no locking contracts. Like, it's not the gym that I really want to join, but they do 18-month memberships. And like I said, I don't know how long I'm going to be here for. So I've got a 1 week free trial, I guess, at this new gym, which I'll start tomorrow. And if that's fine, I think it's like $15 a week or something, which is cheaper than I was paying where I was living before. And yeah, that's that. I've been to Bunnings, which if you're in America, I don't know what it's a hardware store. I've been there like every day for the last 5 days to get different things. You know, all good. I bought an air fryer. I haven't used it yet. My mum actually bought it. Aldi had a special, so she bought it. We both went at opening, and neither of our Aldis had them in. They hadn't arrived yet. And then she went again back yesterday and picked one up. So she dropped that off today when my dad came to visit. And yeah, I need a new vacuum cleaner. Like, I just have a little stick vac, which isn't really big enough for a house. And excuse me, that's it. Life is really good. I'm really happy to say that life is really good right now, and I'm sure I'll be stressed when I'm about to go on placement and in the next couple of weeks as everything is due. But I honestly couldn't feel more blessed right now to be in the position that I'm in, and everything's kind of coming together. So, you know, touch wood that it continues. Reading, watching, listening, I haven't really been doing much of any of that. I've listened to a lot of different podcasts and whatever, but nothing really that I can think of in enough succinct way to talk to you guys about it today. So we might give that a miss. And I've hurt myself. I've got little scabs on my scar. It's odd. Yeah, check out my website. probably like in a couple of days, and hopefully I'll have my whole Secular Sock Machine story up there. I need to take some photos of it obviously so I can put those up with the different posts, and that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Like I said, if you want to follow me online, I'm Madbell on Ravelry, I'm Mad About Ewe on Instagram. All of the things that I've talked about today will be linked down below in the description box, and there'll be links to my different social media accounts as well. Thank you so much for watching. Hot mess as usual. Have a brilliant week. Enjoy your crafting. If you do joining in on my craft along or any of the other craft alongs, make sure you use a hashtag when you post on Instagram. I love to see them, and I have been trying to check the Mad About You challenge hashtag to have a little look, and I've been commenting when I have checked, so it's been great to see so many of you participating and whatnot. Yeah, if you're not a subscriber and you have enjoyed what you've seen, please feel free to subscribe, and yeah, obviously hit the like button if you do like it. I've been talking to a few of my Aussie podcaster friends, and we feel a bit weird saying please like and subscribe, and I've never actually asked in 44 episodes for you to like and subscribe, but it does help other people reach us, and it's really helpful, I guess, like reinforces that people have enjoyed what I've put out there. Obviously, if you don't like it, don't feel free not to put a thumbs down. But yeah, that'd be great. I'll see you probably in 2 weeks, I reckon. I should have done some crafting in 2 weeks, and I'll probably be very stressed again, but at the moment I'm cool as a cucumber and just really enjoying life. So it's a nice place to be, and I hope that that is the same with you. See you then. Bye. So as promised, I'm going to give you a quick tour of the craft room as it is. So I've had to keep my trusty cabinet, but what I've done this time is I have got finished objects in this top shelf here, and then I've also kind of stuffed it with a whole lot of camphor to hopefully keep any moths at bay. I've set it up so it's kind of like beanies, cowls, neck things, big pieces, so penguino, salt dot nut, and my crochet poncho, and then a whole heap of my shawls basically, and wraps in this top bit. And then this is kind of organized chaos. Everything's still in bags, but I've got my sweaters quantity of Circus Tonic here, my Vertices Unite from La Bien-Aimée, blanket, Ed's Menagerie Animal Wool, and then this is just like a mixture of 4-ply and worsted. And then this bag here, I have pulled out, no, not that one. Oh gosh, which one? This one. I have pulled out to be a What the Fade by Andrew Mary. So 3 knit picks, 2 Madeline Tosh, and I think that is a Melbourne City Dye Works. So that's that. I've got some knitting books here. This is like my Clara Parks and my Pom Pom Press ones, and it's more like instructional books for knitting, and a few patterns here. This is like a little whip cubby, even though I have a bag of whips out in my dining room. And then in this box I have put more whips. That's an empty bag actually. That's my weekender. That's some swatches, and then that's a failed knitted animal for a friend of mine's baby. Up here we have yarn that is ready for a project, so theoretically that can go here, or it's a sweater quantity. So this was my eyeball shawl yarn, sweaters quantity of fingering for a jumper. That's a 5 skein fade, which also could be a What the Fade, but I haven't got any plans for that just yet. This is Pierre shawl fingering weight quantity, and then that's my Homes Fun House pack that I bought last Christmas. Sewing machine, my Nundle Woolen Mills Bear yarn, and then this one here is my cubby with project bags and that single sock. And then I've just got my sign and my advent kit behind there, some sewing stuff. And then I bought these off eBay or Amazon not long ago. They're just like quilting clips because I really don't like using pins if I can avoid it, because I end up losing them and then they end up on the floor. This is kind of like tools and more tools. I've got my blocking pins, my yarn valet. That's my case full of needles, which is sort of new that I've done this. They were all kind of just shoved in a bag before, but now I've got them in this like A5 ring binder thing, and they're set out in size and type. So shorty circulars, I'm using those needles at the moment. Long circulars, higher sharps, my favorite sock needles, liquor, and yeah, like I said, they're all in size order, except that needs to go somewhere else. Yeah, so that's just living in this tools basket. Then finally I have my overlocker, more books. These are just like loose patterns that I printed over the years, some magazine patterns, and then in here is podcast and giveaway stuff and my spare Knit Picks yarn winder, which I don't love. And then over here is my circular sock machine cart. So I'll show you this better when I put together a proper video. So in the bottom here I've got my rubber dial, some commercial yarn that will get wound onto cones and I will make my first socks with. I have spare cones for winding yarn onto to use, and then that's my waste yarn, which I've got 6 pounds of. I think they're 2 pound little bags. And then in this top shelf here I've just got like my custom bonnets, my needles, notions and oils and that sort of thing. And then just on the top here I have my yarn bowl by Pickle & Co, just with random shit in it at the moment. I have these are the camphor cedar rings, that I bought just from Bunnings. I went to Woolies, but they didn't have anything wooden. They just had like the mothbally ones, so I didn't want to buy those. And so this is my bundle of minis, which are mostly 20 grams, and they're from hand dyers like Down Under Dyer, Finch Yarn. Oh, sorry, that's that bundle there is Rosehip Island, and then there's Finch Yarns and some Yarn Trader in there. And then these are mostly the leftovers from my advent kit from last year, which was Louie and Lola. Some yarn I'm trying to decide on for the test knit for Astrid of Waddle and Wool. Yarn I want to take photos of and de-stash. And then this was at the door. I need to find a new spot for it. It's just other knitting kind of tote baggy things, and then just random more shit that needs to go away. And then just over here at the moment, which will probably change, is my circular sock machine and my uni backpack, and then just my study. So